first bloom after rain was small and almost shy. It opened on a cobblestone beneath the moonlit sky. Then another came beside it, then a third one near the door. Soon the street was not the same as it had been before. The people stood in silence with lanterns in their hands, watching flowers wake the village, watching color touch the land. And in the street before them, soft and glowing, calm and slow, the giant Snail was carrying a garden made of glow. The first bloom after rain opened in the night. It touched the sleeping village with a gentle garden light. The first bloom after rain did not only grow below, it taught the tired people there was still a way to glow. Nina saw the first bloom turn to gold inside her palm. Rosa saw the second bloom make the empty courtyard calm. Antonio saw the third bloom
near the old stone stair.
Matteo saw the fourth one
in the bakery air.
Elena saw the fifth bloom on the balcony rail. Paolo saw the sixth bloom by a dry and broken pail. Every flower had something from a dream once believed. Every empty little garden had a memory to retrieve. The first bloom after rain opened in the night. It touched the sleeping village with a gentle garden light. The first bloom after rain did not only grow below, it taught the tired people there was still a way to glow. Rain is not the ending, silence is not gone.
Under every empty stone,
a hidden root lives on. Hold the bloom, let it rise, let the village open its eyes. The snail moved very gently as the night began to breathe. Its glowing garden shell shone like spring beneath a wreath. The street became a meadow, the balconies became gold. The village looked much younger than the darkness made it old. No one tried to stop the snail,
no one tried to make it stay.
They only watched the sleeping flowers become alive before the day. And every season after, when the rain began to fall, they waited for the first small bloom to wake the heart of all. The first bloom after rain opened in the night. It touched the sleeping village with a gentle garden light. The first bloom after rain stayed in every lifted face, and the village kept the garden like a warm and sacred place.
When your street is dark and plain,
when your heart is weighted pain, look below after the rain. There begins the first bloom again. When the flowers forgot to bloom, the village did not cry. It only watched the empty pots and let the spring pass by. The balconies grew quieter, the gardens turned to gray. The butterflies went missing, and the children stopped their play. Old trees kept their branches, but no fruit was hanging there. The courtyards lost their colors, and no one seemed to care. And silver rain fell softly, not too cold and not too long. And in the wet stone silence came a slow and glowing song. When the flowers forgot to bloom, the night brought something near. A giant snail with a garden shell came shining through the year. When the flowers forgot to bloom, the stones began to sing. Every sleeping little seed was still waiting to be free. Its body shone like glass, its eyes were calm and deep. Inside its spiral shell, the missing gardens sleep. Tiny trees and silver ponds, lanterns warm and small, paper birds and moonlit flowers were growing in it all. Nina saw the first bloom rising from the street. Rosa felt a rose scent move around her feet. Antonio touched the cobblestones. Mateo held his breath. Elena saw a dry vine wake from its quiet little death. When the flowers forgot to bloom, the night brought something near. A giant snail with a garden shell came shining through the year. When the flowers forgot to bloom, the stones began to see. Every sleeping little seed was still waiting to be free. Do not call the garden dead because the branches sleep. Do not leave the empty soil without a hope to keep. Flowers know the secret of patience in the rain. Even after silent years, they can rise again. The snail moved through the village, leaving blossoms in its trail. Blue and golden petals covered every rail. The empty pots were filling, the old gates opened wide. Children laughed at butterflies that woke on every side. Rosa placed a loaf of bread beside a newborn vine. Paulo hung a lantern where the flowers started to shine. And when the snail passed onward, the people understood. Beauty comes back slowly when the waiting heart is good. When the flowers forgot to bloom, the village learned to wait. Not every miracle arrives before it feels too late. When the flowers forgot to bloom, the dream garden came through, and every stone that touched its light grew something soft and new. If your flowers disappear, if your garden sleeps for years, let the rain fall, let it stay. Something slow may find the way.
Nina stood after the rain where the cobblestones were bright. The village slept in blue again with flowers lost from sight. She held a little lantern near an empty broken pot. She whispered to the quiet street, have the flowers all forgot? Then something moved beside her, slow and gentle, soft and wide. A giant glowing snail appeared with a garden deep inside. Its shell was like a lantern, its spiral full of dreams, and every flower in it was brighter than it seemed. Nina found a glowing flower growing from the stone. It warmed her little fingers like a garden coming home. Nina found a glowing flower, blue and gold and true. One small bloom can wake the street when the night is wet and blue.
Inside the flower, Nina saw a courtyard full of light. A butterfly, a wooden chair, a summer afternoon so bright. She saw grandmother laughing, she saw bread upon a sill. She saw the old balconies blooming at the foot of the dark hill.
The snail bent near the fountain, its eyes so calm and kind, and every tiny petal seemed to open up her mind. Nina lifted up the flower, not to keep it, not to hide. She showed it to the village, and the doors opened wide. Nina found a glowing flower growing from the stone. It warmed her little fingers like a garden coming home. Nina found a glowing flower, blue and gold and true. One small bloom can wake the street when the night is wet and blue.
Hold it softly, let it grow. Share the bloom you came to know.
Little flower,
Do not sleep. Wake the gardens buried deep.
the flower's light spread slowly from her hands into the square. Soon the empty pots were glowing and petals filled the air. Rosa cried in wonder, Antonio smiled slow. Mateo opened shutters where new green vines would grow.
Paulo saw the old tree finally bearing fruit. Elena touched the blossoms at the doorway's root. And Nina laughed because she knew, though no one had to say, a single flower in the dark can call the spring to stay.
Nina found a glowing flower growing from the stone. It warmed her little fingers like a garden coming home. Nina found a glowing flower, then she let that flower shine, and all the village bloomed again like spring returned through time. Little hands and garden light blooming softly through the night. night when the street feels cold and bare, a flower may be waiting there.
The first bloom after rain was small and almost shy. It opened on a cobblestone beneath the moonlit sky. Then another came beside it, then a third one near the door. Soon the street was not the same as it had been before. The people stood in silence with lanterns in their hands, watching flowers wake the village, watching color touch the land. And in the street before them, soft and glowing, calm and slow, the giant Snail was carrying a garden made of glow. The first bloom after rain opened in the night. It touched the sleeping village with a gentle garden light. The first bloom after rain did not only grow below, it taught the tired people there was still a way to glow. Nina saw the first bloom turn to gold inside her palm. Rosa saw the second bloom make the empty courtyard calm. Antonia saw the third bloom near the old stone stair. Mateo saw the fourth one in the bakery air. Elena saw the fifth bloom on the balcony rail. Paula saw the sixth bloom by a dry and broken pail. Every flower had something from a dream once believed. Every empty little garden had a memory to retrieve. The first bloom after rain opened in the night. It touched the sleeping village with a gentle garden light. The first bloom after rain did not only grow below, it taught the tired people there was still a way to glow. Rain is not the ending, silence is not gone. Under every empty stone, a hidden root lives on. Hold the bloom, let it rise, let the village open its eyes. The snail moved very gently as the night began to breathe. Its glowing garden shell shone like spring beneath a wreath. The street became a meadow, the balconies became gold. The village looked much younger than the darkness made it old. No one tried to stop the snail, no one tried to make it stay. They only watched the sleeping flowers become alive before the day. And every season after, when the rain began to fall, they waited for the first small bloom to wake the heart of all. The first bloom after rain opened in the night. It touch the sleeping village with a gentle garden light. The first bloom after rain stayed in every lifted face, and the village kept the garden like a warm and sacred place. When your street is dark and plain, when your heart has waited pain, look below after the rain. There begins the first bloom again. Flowers on the cobblestones after silver rain. No one knew from where they came, no one knew their name. One grew near the fountain, one beneath a chair, one climbed up the bakery wall and warmed the evening air. The village had been empty, the balconies were dry, the little pots had waited with no petals to the sky. And through the sleeping street, where the blue night softly fell, a giant snail was carrying a garden in its shell. Flowers on the cobblestones, blue and golden bright, growing where the village had forgotten its own light. Flowers on the cobblestones, soft beneath the moon. Every sleeping garden can still wake up soon. The snail moved very slowly, like a prayer across the street. Its glowing trail was gentle under every tiny feet. Rosa smelled the roses, Antonio saw the vine, Matteo saw the doorway bloom for the first time in time. Elena saw the old pots fill with silver leaves. Paolo saw the dead tree wear blossoms on its leaves. Nina ran beside the snail, her lantern shining low. Wherever she was laughing, more little flowers would grow. Flowers on the cobblestones, blue and golden bright, growing where the village had forgotten its own light. Flowers on the cobblestones, soft beneath the moon. Every sleeping garden can still wake up soon. Stone can bloom, rain can sing, winter roads can turn to spring. Wait with care, walk with grace. Beauty grows in a patient place. By dawn the whole old village was a garden in the street. Petals hung from balconies, vines curled at people's feet. Children followed butterflies, grandmothers brought out bread. Old men sat by flower pots, where silent years had fled. The snail had moved beyond the square, toward hills of blue and gray. But every glowing flower had decided it would stay. And every night after rainfall, when the stones began to shine, the village looked for blossoms growing out of time. Flowers on the cobblestones, blue and golden bright, growing where the village had forgotten its own light. Flowers on the cobblestones, gentle, strange and true. The snail brought back the garden, and the garden brought them too. When your road is cold and bare, when no flowers answer there, wait after the silver rain. The stones may bloom again. spiral garden, there were trees no hand had sown. There were flowers made of moonlight, there were houses softly grown. There were lanterns by small ponds, there were birds of folded paper, there were butterflies of silver, and little stars like vapor. The snail carried it slowly through the village after rain, a garden in a glowing shell for every hidden pain. No one knew its language, no one knew its road, but every light inside it felt like something they once owed. Inside the spiral garden, the lost flowers stayed alive. Every dream the village buried had been learning to survive. Inside the spiral garden, blue and gold and clear, the snail was carrying springtime back to everyone near. Rosa saw a little tree like the one beside her door. Antonio saw a garden bench from many years before. Matteo saw a flowering gate he had never finished well. Elena saw a child's wish resting in the shell. Paolo saw a pond of stars with lilies made of flame. Nina saw a tiny house that softly called her name. And from the spiral garden, a glowing seed fell down, landing in the wet street of the quiet little town. Inside the spiral garden, the lost flowers stayed alive. Every dream the village buried had been learning to survive. Inside the spiral garden, blue and gold and clear, the snail was carrying springtime back to everyone near. Little seed, little light, grow through stone and through the night. Little pond, little bloom, open every silent room. The seed became a flower, then the flower became a vine. The vine climbed every balcony and made the old stones shine. The snail moved past the fountain, past the houses, past the wall, and everywhere it passed, a garden answered all. The village did not rush it, the village did not call. They learned that beauty grows only slowly after all. And when the snail reached the hill, the shell still glowed behind, but the dream garden had already rooted in their minds. Inside the spire
hearts that needed to. Inside every quiet shell, there may be a garden well. Wait for rain and lantern gleam, a spiral may be full of dream.
In a village after rainfall, where the flowers would not grow, every balcony was empty, every garden breathing low. The pots beside the doorways had forgotten how to bloom, and the courtyards kept their silence like a shadow in a room. Children stopped chasing butterflies, old trees gave no fruit, and the people passed the dry vines with their eyes upon their shoes. Then one night the stones were shining, silver rain upon the ground, and something slow and glowing came without a single sound. The snail came through with the dream garden inside, in a shell of blue and golden light, where forgotten flowers hide. The snail came through, soft and slow and kind, and every heart that lost its spring felt the garden in its mind. Nina stood beside the street with her little lantern low. She saw the giant glowing shell where tiny blossoms grow. Inside were little houses, silver ponds and paper birds, golden flowers, moons and stars, and childhood's quiet words. The snail moved past the windows, past the pots of dust and stone. Every place its soft trail touched no longer felt alone. A flower rose behind it, then another, then a stream, as if the village under night had walked inside a dream. The snail came through with the dream garden inside, in a shell of blue and golden light, where forgotten flowers hide. The snail came through, soft and slow and kind, and every heart that lost its spring felt the garden in its mind. Beauty does not hurry, seeds do not shout. A garden grows in silence when the heart lets wander out. If the world feels empty, if the stone is cold and bare, one slow miracle can pass and leave flowers everywhere. Rosa opened shutters, Antonio raised his eyes, Mateo saw the wet street bloom in blue gold fireflies. Helena touched a flower growing from a crack. Paolo smiled in silence as the garden whispered back. Nina reached toward one blossom glowing from the stone. It opened in her fingers like a dream returning home. And the village understood as the night began to sing. The gardens had not vanished, they were waiting for the spring. The snail came through with the dream garden inside, and the sleeping village blossomed in the blue gold tide. The snail came through, then disappeared from sight. But every empty balcony was full of flowers by morning light. When your garden turns to stone, when your heart feels overgrown, wait for rain and quiet ground. A dream may bloom without a sound. Dream garden in the shell, turning soft and slow. Little trees and little moons, flowers made of glow. Dream garden in the shell, blue and gold and bright, carried through the village in the middle of the night. The balconies were empty, the courtyards dry and still. The old pots by the doorways had forgotten springtime's will. But in the snail's great spiral, where the sleeping wishes stay, 100 tiny flowers were waiting for the day. Dream garden, wake the sleeping stone. Bring the little village back to seeds it once had known. Dream garden in the glowing shell, tell the empty windows that the flowers still are well. Rosa saw a rose tree inside the spiral light. Antonio saw a pathway from a childhood summer night. Mateo saw a garden gate he had never dared repair. Helena saw her mother's flowers floating in the air. Paulo saw a silver pond with stars beneath the glass. Nina saw a butterfly rise where the snail would pass. The snail did not hurry, the snail did not speak, but the blossoms in its shell touched the tired and the weak. Dream garden, wake the sleeping stone. Bring the little village back to seeds it once had known. Dream garden in the glowing shell, tell the empty windows that the flowers still are well. Little seed, little flame, call the village by its name. Little root, little rain, teach the dry hearts to bloom again. The trail behind the snail was shining through the square. Golden flowers opened in the silver rainy air. The dried pots filled with color, the old vines climbed the wall. Tiny birds of paper wings flew out above them all. Children ran barefoot through the glowing little blooms. Grandmothers opened all their rooms, and by the time the moon grew pale, the village softly knew a dream can sleep for many years and still grow back to you. Dream garden, wake the sleeping stone. Bring the little village back to seeds it once had known. Dream garden, gentle, strange and true. Snail brought back the flowers and brought the people too. If the world forgets to bloom, if your windows lose perfume, look for light after the rain. The dream garden comes again. When the flowers forgot to bloom, the village did not cry. It only watched the empty pots and let the spring pass by. The balconies grew quieter, the gardens turned to gray. The butterflies went missing and the children stopped their play. Old trees kept their branches, but no fruit was hanging there. The courtyards lost their colors, and no one seemed to care. Then silver rain fell softly, not too cold and not too long. And in the wet stone silence came a slow and glowing song. When the flowers forgot to bloom, the night brought something near. A giant snail with a garden shell came shining through the year. When the flowers forgot to bloom, the stones began to see. Every sleeping little seed was still waiting to be free. Its body shone like glass, its eyes were calm and deep. Inside its spiral shell, the missing gardens sleep. Tiny trees and silver ponds, lanterns warm and small, paper birds and moonlit flowers were growing in it all. Nina saw the first bloom rising from the street. Rosa felt a rose scent move around her feet. Antonio touched the cobblestones, Matteo held his breath. Elena saw a dry vine wake from its quiet little death. When the flowers forgot to bloom, the night brought something near. A giant snail with a garden shell came shining through the year. When the flowers forgot to bloom, the stones began to see. Every sleeping little seed was still waiting to be free. not call the garden dead because the branches sleep. Do not leave the empty soil without a hope to keep. Flowers know the secret of patience in the rain. Even after silent years, they can rise again. The snail moved through the village, leaving blossoms in its trail. Blue and golden petals covered every rail. The empty pots were filling, the old gates opened wide. Children laughed at butterflies that woke on every side. Rosa placed a loaf of bread beside a newborn vine. Paolo hung a lantern where the flowers started to shine. And when the snail passed onward, the people understood. Beauty comes back slowly when the waiting heart is good. When the flowers forgot to bloom, the village learned to wait. Not every miracle arrives before it feels too late. When the flowers forgot to bloom, the dream garden came through. And every stone that touched its light grew something soft and new. If your flowers disappear, if your garden sleeps for years, let the rain fall, let it stay. Something slow may find the way. Flowers on the cobblestones after silver rain. No one knew from where they came, no one knew their name. One grew near the fountain, one beneath a chair. One climbed up the bakery wall and warmed the evening air. The village had been empty, the balconies were dry. The little pots had waited with no petals to the sky. Then through the sleeping street, where the blue night softly fell, a giant snail was carrying a garden in its shell. Flowers on the cobblestones, blue and golden bright, growing where the village had forgotten its own light. Flowers on the cobblestones, soft beneath the moon. Every sleeping garden can still wake up soon. The snail moved very slowly, like a prayer across the street. Its glowing trail was gentle under every tiny feet. Rosa smelled the roses, Antonio saw the vine, Matteo saw the doorway bloom for the first time in time. Elena saw the old pots fill with silver leaves. Paolo saw the dead tree wear blossoms on its leaves. Nina ran beside the snail, her lantern shining low. Wherever she was laughing, more little flowers would grow. Flowers on the cobblestones, blue and golden bright, growing where the village had forgotten its own light. Flowers on the cobblestones, soft beneath the moon. Every sleeping garden can still wake up soon. Sing, winter roads can turn to spring. Wait with care, walk with grace, beauty grows in a patient place. By dawn the whole old village was a garden in the street. Petals hung from balconies, vines curled at people's feet. Children followed butterflies, grandmothers brought out bread. Old men sat by flower pots where silent years had fled. The snail had moved beyond the square toward hills of blue and gray. But every glowing flower had decided it would stay. And every night after rainfall, when the stones began to shine, the village looked for blossoms growing out of time. Flowers on the cobblestones, blue and golden bright, growing where the village had forgotten its own light. Flowers on the cobblestones, gentle, strange and true. The snail brought back the garden, and the garden brought them too. When your road is cold and bare, when no flowers answer there, wait after the silver rain. The stones may bloom again. Dream garden in the shell, turning soft and slow. Little trees and little moons, flowers made of glow. Dream garden in the shell, blue and gold and bright, carried through the village in the middle of the night. The balconies were empty, the courtyards dry and still. The old pots by the doorways had forgotten springtime's will. But in the snail's great spiral, where the sleeping wishes stay, 100 tiny flowers were waiting for the day. Dream garden, wake the sleeping stone. Bring the little village back to seeds it once had known. Dream garden, in the glowing shell, tell the empty windows that the flowers still are well. Rosa saw a rose tree inside the spiral light. Antonio saw a pathway from a childhood summer night. Matteo saw a garden gate he had never dared repair. Elena saw her mother's flowers floating in the air. Paulo saw a silver pond with stars beneath the glass. Nina saw a butterfly rise where the snail would pass. The snail did not hurry, the snail did not speak, but the blossoms in its shell touched the tired and the weak. Dream garden, wake the sleeping stone. Bring the little village back to seeds it once had known. Dream garden, in the glowing shell, tell the empty windows that the flowers still are well. Little seed, little flame, call the village by its name. Little root, little rain, teach the dry hearts to bloom again. The trail behind the snail was shining through the square. Golden flowers opened in the silver rainy air. The dry pots filled with color, the old vines climbed the wall. Tiny birds of paper wings flew out above them all. Children ran barefoot through the glowing little blooms. Grandma mothers brought warm blankets and opened all their rooms. And by the time the moon grew pale, the village softly knew a dream can sleep for many years and still grow back to you. Dream garden, wake the sleeping stone. Bring the little village back to seeds it once had known. Dream garden, gentle, strange and true. The snail brought back the flowers and brought the people too. If the world forgets to bloom, if your windows lose perfume, look for light after the rain. The dream garden comes again. Nina stood after the rain, where the cobblestones were bright. The village slept in blue again, with flowers lost from sight. She held a little lantern near an empty broken pot. She whispered to the quiet street, have the flowers all forgot? Then something moved beside her, slow and gentle, soft and white. A giant glowing snail appeared with a garden deep inside. Its shell was like a lantern, its spiral full of dreams, and every flower in it was brighter than it seemed. Nina found a glowing flower growing from the stone. It warmed her little fingers like a garden coming home. Nina found a glowing flower, blue and gold and true. One small bloom can wake the street when the night is wet and blue. Inside the flower, Nina saw a courtyard full of light. A butterfly, a wooden chair, a summer afternoon so bright. She saw a grandmother laughing, she saw bread upon a sill. She saw the old balconies blooming at the foot of the dark hill. The snail bent near the fountain, its eyes so calm and kind, and every tiny petal seemed to open up her mind. Nina lifted up the flower, not to keep it, not to hide. She showed it to the village, and the doors opened wide. Nina found a glowing flower growing from the stone. It warmed her little fingers like a garden coming home. Nina found a glowing flower, blue and gold and true. One small bloom can wake the street when the night is wet and blue. Hold it softly, let it grow. Share the bloom you came to know. Little flower, do not sleep. Wake the gardens buried deep. The flower's light spread slowly from her hands into the square. Soon the empty pots were glowing, and petals filled the air. Rosa cried in wonder, Antonio smiled slow. Mateo opened shutters where new green vines would grow. Paolo saw the old tree finally bearing fruit. Elena touched the blossoms at the doorway's root. And Nina laughed because she knew, though no one had to say, A single flower in the dark can call the spring to stay. Nina found a glowing flower growing from the stone. It warmed her little fingers like a garden coming home. Nina found a glowing flower, then she let that flower shine. And all the village bloomed again like spring returned through time. Little hands in garden light, blooming softly through the night. When the street feels cold and bare, a flower may be waiting there. In a village after rainfall, where the flowers would not grow, every balcony was empty, every garden breathing low. The pots beside the doorways had forgotten how to bloom, and the courtyards kept their silence like a shadow in a room. Children stopped chasing butterflies, old trees gave no fruit, and the people passed the dry vines with their eyes upon their shoes. Then one night the stones were shining, silver rain upon the ground. And something slow and glowing came without a single sound. The snail came through with the dream garden inside, in a shell of blue and golden light, where forgotten flowers hide. The snail came through, soft and slow and kind, and every heart that lost its spring felt the garden in its mind. Nina stood beside the street with her little lantern low. She saw the giant glowing shell where tiny blossoms grow. Inside were little houses, silver ponds and paper birds, golden flowers, moons and stars, and childhood's quiet words. The snail moved past the windows, past the pots of dust and stone. Every place its soft trail touched no longer felt alone. A flower rose behind it, then another, then a stream, as if the village under night had walked inside a dream. The snail came through with the dream garden inside, in a shell of blue and golden light, where forgotten flowers hide. The snail came through, soft and slow and kind, and every heart that lost its spring felt the garden in its mind. Beauty does not hurry, seeds do not shout. A garden grows in silence when the heart lets wonder out. If the world feels empty, if the stone is cold and bare, slow miracle can pass and leave flowers everywhere. Rosa opened shutters, Antonio raised his eyes. Mateo saw the wet street bloom in blue gold fireflies. Helena touched a flower growing from a crack. Paulo smiled in silence as the garden whispered back. Nina reached toward one blossom glowing from the stone. It opened in her fingers like a dream returning home. And the village understood as the night began to sing. The gardens had not vanished, they were waiting for the spring. The snail came through with the dream garden inside, and the sleeping village blossomed in the blue gold tide. The snail came through, then disappeared from sight. But every empty balcony was full of flowers by morning light. When your garden turns to stone, when your heart feels overgrown, wait for rain and quiet ground. A dream may bloom without a sound.